In the heart of the untamed jungle, where towering trees stretch toward the sky and the air hums with the sounds of life, one guardian stands above all others. Kumba, a mighty silverback gorilla, watches over his family with unwavering strength. His deep brown eyes scan the horizon, sensing every movement, every shift in the wind. To his family, he is more than a leader, he is their protector. His powerful chest rises and falls steadily as he listens, every sound in the jungle like a note in an unbroken symphony. But tonight something is different. A shadow moves in the distance, a whisper, a crack of a branch, the soft murmur of voices not belonging to the forest. Danger lurks just beyond the trees. Kumba's nostrils flare, catching an unfamiliar scent. His muscles tighten, his instincts screaming of an unseen threat. He does not move yet. He watches, waits, calculates. He knows the jungle. He knows its patterns. And right now, something is wrong. Nearby, his baby, Tano, tumbles playfully in the leaves, blissfully unaware of the lurking danger. His tiny hands grasp at the vines, his soft chirps filling the night air. His mother, Luma, watches him with warm eyes, gently nudging him closer. But beyond the safety of their home, unseen eyes are watching. Hidden behind the thick undergrowth, two men crouch low, their breaths hushed, their eyes locked onto the unsuspecting family. One grips a rifle, the metal glinting faintly under the moonlight. The other whispers, barely more than a breath. "There, see that one? The big one? He'll fight. But the baby? Easy pickings." A wicked grin flashes in the darkness. The men inch forward, careful, calculated, their boots pressing softly into the damp earth. Kumba does not need to see them to know they are there. His body is already turning, positioning himself between his family and the unseen threat. A deep, rumbling growl builds in his throat, low and dangerous. His lips curl back, revealing sharp canines. The jungle falls silent. The night air thickens. A father, a leader, a protector. Tonight, Kumba will face the greatest challenge of his life. Against all odds, he must stand alone to defend his family, or lose them forever. Deep within the dense embrace of the jungle, where sunlight filters through the thick canopy and the scent of damp earth lingers in the air, Kumba leads his troop through their daily routine. The morning begins with soft grunts and quiet rustling as the gorillas wake, stretching their powerful limbs. Tano clings to his mother's back, his tiny hands gripping her fur tightly as she moves with effortless grace. The others follow Kumba's lead, foraging for food, their massive hands pulling leaves and fruits from the branches. The jungle is alive with sound, the distant calls of birds, the occasional chatter of monkeys swinging through the treetops, and the rhythmic drumming of rain against the thick foliage. To the untrained eye, it is peaceful, serene, a world untouched by time. But Kumba knows better. For years, he has guided his family through the shifting dangers of the wild. He has fought off rival males seeking to take his place, defended his young from prowling leopards lurking in the shadows. Yet, nothing has prepared him for this new enemy. One that does not belong in the jungle, one that brings with it an unnatural scent, the cold gleam of metal, and a hunger for destruction. Still, for now, the jungle remains unaware of the approaching storm. Tano clambers onto Kumba's broad shoulders, his playful squeaks echoing through the trees. Kumba allows it, letting the young one tug at his ear before gently nudging him away. Luma watches, her dark eyes filled with quiet affection. To them, this is life. To them, Kumba is unshakable. But the whispers in the trees tell a different story. Far beyond the safety of their territory, footsteps crunch against the jungle floor. Men with rifles move through the undergrowth, their eyes scanning the landscape, their hands tightening around their weapons. They are not here to admire the beauty of the rainforest. They are here for something else. A prize, a profit, a living being stolen from its home, and they will stop at nothing to get what they came for. The jungle remains blissfully unaware, But soon, the silence will be broken, and Kumba will be forced to fight a battle unlike any he has ever faced before. The jungle whispers its warnings. The distant chatter of birds grows uneasy. The rustling of leaves shifts in unnatural patterns. Kumba lifts his head, nostrils flaring, catching a scent that does not belong. His dark eyes sharpen, scanning the dense undergrowth where shadows stretch and shift. Something is near. Something is watching. Luma senses it too. She tightens her grip around Tano, pulling him close against her chest. The other gorillas stir, glancing toward their leader for reassurance. Kumba does not move yet. He listens. He waits. The jungle is his home, and he knows its language. Tonight, it speaks of danger. A twig snaps. A deliberate step, heavier than any animal that walks these grounds. Then another. The low murmur of human voices slithers through the air, barely audible, but to Kumba, it is deafening. There, up ahead, a voice mutters. The brush parts, revealing two men creeping forward, their figures shrouded in darkness. One carries a rifle slung over his shoulder. The other grips a thick coil of rope. Their eyes gleam with purpose. They are hunters, poachers. They have come for the young. Tano squirms in his mother's hold, sensing the unease in the air. Luma holds him tighter. Kumba plants his feet firmly on the ground, muscles coiling beneath his thick fur. He does not need to see the weapons to know what they mean. He has seen this before. He has lost before. Not again. The men step closer, slow, deliberate. Their voices are hushed, but their movements betray them. A net unravels in the hands of one, while the other raises his rifle ever so slightly, fingers brushing against the trigger. Kumba lets out a low, guttural growl. A warning. The men freeze. Their grip tightens on their weapons, but they do not retreat. One of them smirks. Big guy thinks he's scary, he mutters under his breath. Another step forward. A mistake. Kumba's growl deepens, vibrating through the air like distant thunder. His massive chest expands as he straightens to his full height, towering over the intruders. His powerful arms tense, fingers curling into fists. He does not run. He does not hide. He is the protector, and he will not let them pass. But the poachers are undeterred. One gives a silent nod, and in an instant, the net is thrown. It slices through the air, aimed not at Kumba, but past him, toward the small, helpless form of Tano. Luma cries out. The baby shrieks in terror, and then the jungle erupts. The night shatters with a roar that shakes the jungle. Kumba lunges forward, his massive body a blur of strength and fury. The net, meant for Tano, barely grazes him as he swipes it aside with a powerful arm. The poachers stumble back, startled by the sheer force of the silverback's charge. Tano wails, clinging desperately to Luma as she scrambles away, shielding him with her body. The rest of the troop erupts into chaos. Juveniles screech and pound their fists against the trees. Mothers gather their young, and branches rustle as they retreat into the safety of the dense jungle. But Kumba does not move back. He stands his ground. The poachers recover quickly. One raises his rifle. His hands are steady, his eyes cold. He has done this before. A deafening crack splits the air, a warning shot fired into the sky. Birds explode from the treetops, their cries swallowed by the night. The jungle falls silent. But Kumba does not flinch. He does not cower. He does what he has always done. He protects. With terrifying speed, he charges. His feet pound against the earth as he barrels toward the men. The poacher with the rifle scrambles to reload, but Kumba is too fast. A massive fist swings through the air and slams into the man's chest. The impact sends him crashing backward, his weapon tumbling into the undergrowth. A choked gasp escapes his lips as the air is knocked from his lungs. The second man reaches for the net, desperation flickering across his face. He swings it wide, hoping to ensnare the raging beast before him. But Kumba is no ordinary prey. He ducks, dodging the trap with the agility of a creature born to survive. Then, with a guttural snarl, he grabs the net midair and rips it from the poacher's hands. The man stumbles. His fear is palpable now. His partner groans, still struggling to rise. The jungle no longer belongs to them. Kumba does not chase them. He does not need to. His message is clear. His family is not to be taken. The poachers exchange frantic glances. They know when a hunt has failed. One clutches his bruised ribs. The other scrambles for the rifle. And then, without another word, they turn and flee, crashing through the undergrowth, their retreat as clumsy as their arrival. Silence returns. The jungle watches. The leaves whisper. Kumba stands tall, his breath heavy, his muscles still tense. Slowly he turns. Luma waits in the shadows, Tano cradled safely in her arms. Their eyes meet. The baby lets out a small, frightened whimper. Kumba steps forward and gently presses his forehead against Luma's, a silent promise, a vow unbroken. He has won, but he knows this is not the end. The jungle breathes again. The distant echoes of fleeing footsteps fade into nothing, swallowed by the dense undergrowth. Kumba stands motionless, his chest rising and falling in slow, steady breaths. The battle is over, but the danger still lingers in the shadows of his mind. He has driven them away, for now. But he knows men like them always return. Behind him, the troop slowly emerges from their hiding places. Hesitant at first, their dark eyes dart between Kumba and the place where the intruders once stood. The younger gorillas inch closer, their small hands gripping vines and branches for security. The elders grunt softly, a chorus of reassurance passing through the air. Luma steps forward, Tano still clutched tightly in her arms. The baby gorilla whimpers, his tiny fingers curling around his mother's fur. He does not understand what happened, only that the safety of his world was shaken. Kumba watches him carefully, then lowers himself onto all fours, moving closer. His massive form looms over them, but his movements are slow, deliberate, gentle. He reaches out, his thick fingers brushing against Tano's back. The baby stirs, his small frame trembling, but as Kumba lets out a soft, rumbling sound, low and comforting, Tano relaxes. The troop gathers around their leader, the bond between them stronger than ever. They have seen what he has done. They have felt the weight of his protection. And in this moment, there is no doubt, Kumba is their guardian, their shield, the force that stands between them and the unknown dangers of the world beyond the trees. But Kumba knows the peace will not last forever. The men will return, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day. And when they do, they will come prepared, stronger, more determined. He lifts his head, scanning the jungle once more. The moonlight filters through the trees, casting silver shadows on the ground. The jungle hums with life again, birds calling to one another, the rustling of small creatures moving through the underbrush. Everything has returned to normal, and yet something has changed. Kumba is no longer just a leader. He is a warrior, a symbol of defiance against those who seek to destroy what they do not understand. He has fought for his family, and he will do so again as many times as it takes. With one last look toward the darkness beyond, Kumba turns back to his family. He leads them deeper into the jungle, where the trees stand tall, where the rivers run free, where they are safe. For now. The jungle never forgets. It remembers the echoes of footsteps that do not belong, the scent of fear that lingers in the air long after the danger has passed. Kumba knows this truth well. Even as the days stretch into nights and the rhythm of life returns, the memory of that battle lingers like a shadow in his mind. The troop moves as one through the thick canopy, following the well-worn paths of their ancestors. They climb, they forage, they play. But there is a quiet awareness in their movements now. The young ones stay closer to their mothers. The adults glance toward Kumba more often, as if searching for reassurance. He gives it in the way he always has, not with words, but with presence, with strength. with the unshakable promise that he will protect them. Tano is no longer the same either. Once carefree and fearless, he now hesitates before venturing too far. He grips his mother's fur tighter, his wide eyes scanning the jungle with newfound caution. He is learning what it means to survive, what it means to have something worth protecting. Kumba watches him, understanding in his gaze. He too was once young. He too had to learn that the world is not always kind, that danger comes without warning, that strength is not just in the body but in the will to stand, to fight, to endure. The jungle stretches endlessly before them, an ancient living force that cradles them in its depths. It is their home, their sanctuary. And yet Kumba knows it is not untouched by the hands of men. He has seen the scars, trees cut down, rivers polluted, animals taken from their families. He has felt the weight of those losses. But he is still here. His family is still here. And as long as he breathes, as long as he stands, he will not let them be taken. The wind shifts, rustling the leaves in a soft whispered warning. Somewhere in the distance, a sound that does not belong. A low, mechanical hum, faint but unmistakable. Kumba's ears twitch. His gaze sharpens. The jungle never forgets, and neither does he. The fight is not over. It never was.